Potential red flag detected. Of course, labeling a paycheck competitive is the equivalent of billing a nameless plate as chef crafted. It sounds appealing, but the only way to find out if it's actually satisfying is to bite in, pray you don't choke, and hope you don't end up trading your lunch break for a side of waiting 8 hours in A&E with an upset tummy. In practice, this phrasing works like a magic trick. The recruiter waves a vague hand, whispers competitive salary, and presto. The candidate's expectations evaporate while the HR department quietly pockets the difference between advertised ambiguity and the actual salary they want to pay you. It's a bit like buying a used car that's advertised as well-maintained, and then discovering the engine runs on optimism and a sprinkling of good intentions. The end result? A workforce that learns to interpret competitive as you have no other option in this economy, and a HR department that can finally sleep soundly, knowing they've successfully turned a concrete number into a philosophical concept. Companies that post competitive salary as a catch-all promise are often masking a lack of transparency that erodes trust and perpetuates wage inequity. By refusing to disclose concrete numbers, they force candidates to gamble on vague market averages, which can disproportionately disadvantage people who lack the bargaining power or insider knowledge to negotiate effectively. This practice also discourages informed salary benchmarking, allowing firms to underpay relative to industry standards while still claiming they are competitive, because the term is meaningless without context. Moreover, the omission of actual figures fuels a culture of secrecy as employees cannot compare notes without hard data. Relying on the generic label of competitive feels like a lazy, deceptive marketing ploy rather than a genuine commitment to equitable compensation. Listing salaries as competitive also hands companies an unsurprisingly versatile toolkit. It frees recruiters from the administrative overhead of researching precise market benchmarks and updating posting numbers whenever industry pay bands shift, allowing HR teams to focus on sourcing and branding instead of number crunching. The ambiguous phrasing also cushions firms against salary inflation. If the market pushes rates upward, a competitive label can be interpreted loosely enough to keep compensation flat without appearing stingy, thereby preserving profit margins while still claiming market relevance. Moreover, the lack of disclosed figures gives employers leverage in negotiations. Candidates are forced to reveal their expectations first, granting the company the upper hand to shape offers around internal budget constraints. From a talent acquisition standpoint, the phrase acts as a vague hook that attracts a broad swath of applicants, including those who might self-exclude if exact numbers appeared too low, thereby expanding the applicant pool without the stigma of low pay listings.